You've found your way to the Winning Tactics podcast with host Adam Sinkus. Adam discusses winning tactics with small business owners and entrepreneurs, uncovering processes and introducing the tools and solutions for enhancing the bottom line. Thanks again for finding your way to the Winning Tactics podcast, and now your host, Adam Sinkus.
All right. Happy Wednesday, October 14th. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe we are actually already halfway through October. It is crazy. Today we got an awesome show lined up. A guest, Toni Portmann, who is near and dear to my heart in the project that they work on over at Walkabout Workplace. Before we dive into all that important stuff, definitely want to thank my partner, my affiliate partner, SpearPoint Solutions. SpearPoint Solutions is your leader in outthinking the competition, taken their over 30 years of creative thinking in business and packed it into a 12-month subscription that will help you find strategies to set you apart from your competition. Normally, these strategies would cost you like well over 10 grand for a custom strategy for your business. But they just got this killer program, 12 months. You get three individual distinct strategies every month in your inbox, $3,500. It is like free money. There is so much opportunity. Using my offer code EAC1019, and you can also get a substantial savings on top of that. Again, thank you, SpearPoint Solutions. And awesome. I am so excited to have you here, Toni. This has been, God, we've been talking since like June, May, a while. And, I'm really excited to actually have you on the show. We are going to dive down virtual work and this Zoom stuff and water cooler culture and all kinds of crazy stuff today about how we're connecting with people. But before we go into all the nitty and gritty, Toni, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I need to learn about SpearPoint. That sounds really, really cool, Adam, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Walkabout Collaborative is the official name, but Walkabout Workplace or Classroom or Conference or whatever you want to add on to the end of a virtual place where people can come to work. And this is the sixth startup that I've run. We are in the middle of a capital raise. So if anyone is excited about investing, love to talk to you about that. It is been a journey. And I really believe that with this COVID pandemic, we've all got to figure out what the new norm is going to be. And I think working with distributed teams, working remote, and figuring out how we do work is going to be what we've got to focus on for the ensuing future. I don't think we'll ever quite go back to the way it was. And I don't even know what the way it was because it was evolving as we went.
I agree. It is absolutely crazy how remote work has really changed this year. I saw this kind of direction happening over probably the last 3 or 4 years pretty heavily. Players like Zoom and Microsoft and GoToMeeting have become more and more important in daily business life. But COVID hit, and now we're all like forced to work at home, and so it was a big adaptation for I think a lot of people. So let's dive into that a little bit. What are your thoughts on how people are coping with working at home, especially the people that have been, traditionally working in offices or working as a team together?
Yeah, and I think the best way to go forward is to go back just a little bit, as you just said. Pre-COVID, there was a groundswell of what do we do now, and that was because the data said that by 2025, pre-COVID, that 72.3% of all U.S. workers were going to work either partially or fully remote from their team. And what was being experienced then is on steroids now. And that is, people felt when they were working either from home, but from Starbucks or from WeWork or from the Admirals Club or from an airplane, when they felt like they were working onshore, offshore, when they weren't connected to their intact team, they felt isolated. They didn't feel a part of a team. They didn't feel like they were valued. They didn't feel a part of the community. And when you can't walk down the hall and have that, as you mentioned it, the water cooler conversation, it really is a big problem because we are social human beings. We want to be with people. It's why I contend that WeWork was one of the most expensive cup of coffee in the United States, because people wanted to be in a community with real people. And you mentioned the problem. So isolation is real. And what we're now finding post-COVID, which threw us all into, we've got to be working from remote, we're shelter in place, we're in lockdown, etc., is the phenomenon of Zoom fatigue. We are now relegated to, and we're doing it right now, Adam, we're a little box on a screen. We're not embracing the environment that you thrive in, and we're not able to connect with the people that we need to do our work, and we're being relegated to a tool and a calendar invite, or to a chat box on a Slack or a Skype, or right. We're doing this communication and we're leaving the human being out of it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think that every communication that we have, for the most part now, resides on a calendar.
Exactly.
Like, I am all for scheduling things, and obviously your calendar, like my calendar, fills up faster than you know what to do with, even before all of this happening. But at the end of the day, I can't just go have a casual conversation with Bob down the hall, just, as I'm on my way to get a cup of coffee, or or go make a copy, or whatever that trip might be for, and it's, it begs the question in my mind, have we become too intentional in our communication as we've started to experience this?
So I just love that. And I'm looking in my notes because I just had the most interesting conversation. By the way, maybe somebody that you should have on your podcast, Joe Jordan. I had a conversation with him earlier today. And that's it. We talked about the fact that creativity and collaboration sometimes comes with these bouts of spontaneous connection. And when so there's a couple of things. One is, I might need you for a 5-minute answer. I've got a question. I've got a comment. I want to, have a connection. And if I have to schedule it, first of all, I don't remember it. Second of all, it must not be important. And then I add up all my 5-minuters and get on your calendar. And then everything lacks context. Yeah, I'm asking you about this contract and this marketing plan and this, right? And so I think this is a serious, serious problem. And I think it's being affected in a myriad of ways. Number one, some people would say we're more productive because we're scheduled and we get everything crammed in and we're right. But I say we're less effective. We might be more productive in checking things off boxes, but I don't think, Adam, that we're having the opportunity to be as effective as we used to be when I could walk down the hall, or I would just see somebody and we'd start brainstorming and I like to take it beyond collaboration to co-creation. Collaboration says we collaborate and we get to, a final output. Co-creation, and you're in the world of creation, co-creation says we create a new outcome, right? And that comes from spontaneity. And if you look at even when there's a great article about when Steve Jobs designed his new headquarters, I don't know if you've heard about this, but he on purpose put all of the bathrooms where people had to cross the entire campus. And they had to intentionally bump into people as they were going to do something very important, right? And so I thought that was an intuitively brilliant way of making sure that as human beings, we have the opportunity to interact and spontaneously co-create.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. You talk about co-creating, and really the ultimate kind of product of co-creation is innovation, right? It's where we really build our innovation from. And so do you think that this lack of spontaneity and spontaneous communication is going to hamper innovation as we look to the future?
Not only innovation, but I think it's going to hit to the heart of, or the bottom line of, business. And here's why. One of the reasons that we're doing Walkabout is I met this brilliant woman, Karen Sobel-Lejeski. She wrote a book that is called Leading the Virtual Workforce. And she's now written even a second book on this construct of what she coined virtual distance. And you've got virtual work, what it means. Well, what virtual distance means is it's a new metric. And she spent 20 years in correlation analysis on this new metric. It has three major attributes. The first is physical. And physical is just what you and I would think. We think brick and mortar. We think the fish on the wall. We think time zones. We think tools. That's the physical work of working in a virtual environment. The second is operational. And it's kind of what you were getting at, Adam. That is operationally, how do I change the way I run a company in a virtual world? And I coin it as dailies, weeklies, monthlies, quarterlies. So in a brick and mortar, I know exactly what I used to do daily, monthly, weekly. I'd walk down the hall, I'd have team meetings. If I was in development, I might have daily stand-ups. If I was in management, I might have some one-on-ones with my direct reports. If I were monthly and I was in management, I might give a state of the company or a state of the business. Then I'd have my board meetings, and then I'd have my strategic planning. So we've got to rethink all of that, because in a virtual environment, operationally, how do we get that done if we've lost the ability to really daily interact and weekly interact? And then the third attribute that sort of set me on my heels, to be honest, and by the way, through correlation, Karen would say it's the most important correlated to bottom line, ROI, productivity, and effectiveness, and to your point, innovation. And that's what she coins as the word affinity. And affinity is connection to brand and connection to people or community. And so you're in the marketing business, you know, brand connection. If I'm not connected to brand, I'm not as loyal. I might attrit. And by the way, on virtual distance, I'm old, you're a lot younger, and Gen Zers, which will be 40% of the workforce by 2025, 40% of the workforce will be Gen Z and younger. So they get recruited, they get assessed, they get interviewed, they get onboarded, they get trained, and they get managed. And guess what? They may never physically meet a human being. And that is frightening. So if I'm not attached to brand and I'm not attached to my team, here's what happens. Trust falls. I'm not co-creating or innovating. I'm working in my silo and I'm working with my calendar and I'm showing up, but I might not be thriving. I'm not feeling like I'm part of creating something, innovating something. And by the way, if I have to wait until my voice is heard till the next time I have a calendared meeting on Zoom, I've forgotten my idea. You and I, 5 minutes before this show, talked about 10 ideas that we're going to go execute after this show. And it's because we connected.
Yeah. No, I love that connecting with brand thing. And it kind of circles me into the next piece that I think is really interesting that I've talked to several people about. And it's the mindset of, I'm so used to going somewhere to go to work, right? And now I go from my bedroom to my office or my dining room or, and I might stop by the kitchen to get a cup of coffee on the way, But, I think it's interesting. And prior to me even being involved with Walkabout, our team, fully dispersed team, we had a virtual office on a different platform. And, it was just the feeling of being able to show up somewhere every day. Like I go log in, I'm there. Like that replaced a lot of the physical need to go somewhere. And so what are your thoughts on people feeling like they have somewhere to go?
I think you're onto a critical point. It's why we work. People wanted to go somewhere. They wanted to be with the community. But equally, maybe more important, that place has to change its schema. So our brains want to be in like that office building. And when you're distributed and you don't have context, here's what happens. My board meeting is the same as my training. And that's the same as my water cooler. And it's the exact same as the boss's office. And it's the exact same as HR's office. And it's the exact same as the CTO's office. And I don't have context. So what we've tried to think about is why place matters, why going to a place matters. And I will tell you, it is unbelievably important. We even put a bar in. I'll show you in a minute, but we put a bar in because of COVID, because obviously we need a place to go drink, but I'm not saying drink, but just to have this different kind of experience, we put a bar in. But I have a different persona when I walk into my boardroom than I do when I walk into a training room, than I do when I go into the cafe. And that change of schema starts to change the creativity that I can bring to whatever the topic is at hand. When I go into the cafe, I want to talk to Patty about the fact that she's doing a reveal party this afternoon, and for her new exciting little grandbaby. And I want to talk to Anton about her dog. And I'm not going to do that in the boardroom. And if I do, it's sort of inappropriate, right? So I think that we're going to have to figure out a new way of going to a place, maybe when we can't. And by the way, maybe when we shouldn't, because carbon footprint, I've heard go read, people are like, I am so excited that I don't have that hour-and-a-half commute. We're doing business in Tokyo, Japan, all across Tokyo, because the Japanese employee can't get to work. The transit system with shelter in place doesn't allow for social distancing. And people were queuing up 3 and 4 hours to come to work. So that's just not going to work. Our carbon footprint was real and was failing us. I talked to a gal yesterday, 2.5 hours. She got a job offer, awesome job, 2.5 hour commute one way. She said, I'm out. I can get a job where I can work virtually or remotely. I can make just as much money, and I'm going to have a life, right?
Mhm.
So I love carbon footprint. I love telecommuting. I also love the fact that when you are virtual, if you have this sense of a place to go, talent acquisition becomes really interesting. I'm now not relegated to the guy that can drive to work or ride the bus or the train to work. The world is my recruiting platform. So as long as I've got a place to go where I can connect and change schema, it's the best of all worlds.
Yeah, the recruitment piece is really interesting to me. There's so many businesses that up until even last year were like hammered down on this. We have to have you in office. We have to have you in office. I've even had positions where I was traveling all the time, constantly, 5 days a week on the road. But we have to have you in a location so you can come to our office 1 day a week. Like, I'm like, and the reality is if the platform is right and the space is available, you don't need that, first of all. And second of all, it doesn't matter where you hire somebody from, because you can focus so much more on skill set, on culture fit, on all those other important pieces of a hiring, and not on things like commute, physical space, technology. It becomes kind of those minuscule things that were once important to a physical location now become almost a moot point, almost not even a conversation topic.
I love what you're saying, and I agree completely. And I do think that this was evolving before. We'll never go back to the way it was. First of all, I've now got CEOs that said, I never would have believed that we wouldn't get through this and then have everybody come back to work. But now that we're through this, we'll never, ever come back to work the way we did. And even if we came back to a location, we had salespeople all over the country. We had business development all over. We had development all over the country. So just because you were in a office, I mean, I ran a company with 15,000 employees in 31 offices in 16 countries. I was never where I was supposed to be. And I'll give you this one story, kind of blew my mind. And this is pre-pandemic. So this is where we're going. A friend of mine's daughter got hired by Facebook. Pretty cool. She went through 7 interviews. She went through assessment and testing. She went through onboarding. She got the job, a very nice vice president job, and she worked for 1 year and has never physically met anyone at Facebook. That is the new norm. Mm-hmm. And they got to recruit her because of her talent. And she may never meet a person. But that in and of itself provides its own set of challenges. Because if we go back to that brand and that affinity and that community that you talked about, how am I going to retain her? Is she going to feel a part of this company? Is the CEO going to feel like he can see and have presence and connection with his or her constituents? I think it's going to be a really interesting problem. And the facts are, at least in my company that I ran, 1 point of attrition, 1 point was $3 million to the bottom line. Because I had to go find them and recruit them and hire them and onboard them and train them and get them productive and pray that they stayed. So I spent an awful lot of time, energy, and money on culture. Mm-hmm. On right. I grew up in IBM, or assuming I grew up, but in IBM, we used to say our blood ran blue. And that was, right, we identified with that 3-letter brand. So I think we've got to figure out a new way of connecting people to companies and to community, or we are going to be less profitable, less innovative, less creative, and less productive. And most importantly, we're going to be less happy. And happiness is the key to success. If we are happy with company and community, we thrive, we contribute. When we're not happy with company or community, it is just not a good place.
Yep, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've never ever read anything about it, take the time, go look it up. It's super, super enlightening. But it comes down to there's 5 foundational principles that you need to have, and they're like tiers, and you can't get to the next tier until you satisfy one. And physical well-being and emotional well-being are your bottom 2 tiers. And so, we're talking here a lot about how do you create that, right? How do you create that physical and emotional well-being? And that is really the foundation of what happiness and everything else that you do, all the way up until self-actualization, really is that top tier in what you're always striving for. And so I think it's super, super interesting. And I think Maslow's, I've always thought Maslow's was so relevant to workplace culture, but even now, more so than ever, it's something that leaders should be learning about, talking about, and figuring out how to help people through that.
So you want to have your head explode?
Yes.
And I'll send you something on it. Go study the Allen curve. So the Allen curve took Maslow's hierarchy of needs and layered in the impact of virtual distance. And it will blow your mind.
Oh my gosh.
No, it'll blow your mind. I can't believe you said it. So the universe wanted us to talk about it. But it's super, super cool, the Allen curve.
I am super excited about that. We'll be getting something out in a blog post on that on the Winning Tactics website. So look for that coming up in the next couple of weeks here. That is super, super exciting. I want to shift gears because Walkabout really exists to solve a lot of these problems that we've been talking about.
It does. Of course it does.
Of course it does. So take us through what Walkabout is. I mean, let's start just foundationally. What is Walkabout all about?
Walkabout is a place to go. It's a place to go to work. It's a place to go to school. It's the place to go to learn. It's a place to go to live. It's the place. And do you want me to show you?
I was going to pull up my office and my co-working space here. So bear with me 1 second while we get that pulled up. I got to find the right screen here. Too many things going on. Always.
I can show you where you go to work.
So take us through this. This is my office in the Co-work Virtual Hub, my virtual co-working space. But it is Walkabout's platform, and it is absolutely fantastic. I'll take you through after Toni goes through her spiel. I'll take you through what we're doing with it in Co-work Hub Virtual. But take it away, Toni. Show us a little bit about what it's about.
Well, it's the coolest thing ever. So the first thing that you do, and you can even show them how you come to work, but the first thing that I do every day, or that guests or colleagues or clients or prospects do every day if they want to come see me, is we build them a place. And that place can be real, a picture of a real place, or it can be a not real place. So for example, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and up on the tollway, there's a company called FBFK. It's a law firm. They've got offices in LA, Houston, and Dallas. And guess what? They've used a picture of their real law firm to come to work in. We've also got really cool organizations. And what's yours? Yours is VGIO. What is it?
Co-work Hub Virtual.
Co-work Hub Virtual.
Virtual, yep.
And that's where you come to work every day. So you get to come to CVH every day. And so when Adam and I come to work, the first thing we do is we log in with the username and password like any other tool. But the cool thing is, Adam just showed you his office. This is my office. And my office is wicked cool, and so is Adam's. But if you look at the office, the very first thing I do when I come in is I pull up what we fondly call our heads-up display. And this is my little office, and my colleagues are here. So I can see down the hall. I can see Anton, my colleague. I can see Ramesh. By the way, when I hover, I see their names. So I see Anton. Here I am in my office. Here's Patty in her office. And if I want to walk around the office, all I do is literally walk down the floor. Ramesh has got a red circle. That means his door's locked. If I want to come up here and lock my room, and we've got audibles, doorbells ring, people show up, I lock my door, I get knocks if people want to come see me, and I unlock my door. So you just saw that red circle. I lock my door, I unlock my door. And then if I want to walk down the hall and see how my colleague Anton's doing, I literally walk down the hall, and with the click of a button, I'm on the best quality audio and video that money can buy, and we don't charge a lot for it. So hopefully my colleague Anton is there. It looked like she was there. Ideally, she comes in and says hi to me. I can also, which I love, move my video around. I can make my video big. I can do screen share, which ends up being a screen share of a picture-in-picture with up to 10 people in my office, able to simultaneously screen share in my screen share. And then I can go to that. Oh, and there's my colleague, Anton. Anton, how are you?
Hey, Anton, you are live on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah. And so Anton, if you could do a quick share screen, that would be awesome. So here's Anton. I'm going to bring her over. I'm going to make her bigger. This isn't Zoomitis. This isn't Microsoft Teamsitis. She can now show me her share screen. I'm simultaneously co-creating or collaborating or sharing with her. And while she's doing that, I can also put up what we call our application console. And in our application console, we've got all the apps that we use to do our work. So we've got Slack and SharePoint and Microsoft Teams and Miro, the whiteboard. And now you can see that she's sharing her screen with me. So I'll say, oh, what's she doing? And then with picture on picture, I can shift to what she's sharing. I can shift to a large screen and see what she's sharing with me. I can escape out of that and come back. And if I want to do a one-on-one and focus on Anton, I focus on her. And then Anton, I'm going to walk down the hall and show a couple of rooms. I'll see you in the training room. So if you watch, you will see her literally move from her office into the training room, which I happen to know is right here, and it's earmarked training room. Down the hall I go, and now I have a different persona when I go into the training room on full video, and I'll show you two other features that I love, love, love. So in that training room, now we're both in the same place. I can also say, gosh, I really wish Tyler, who Adam, you know, I wish Tyler were in here with us. So I can either go up here to this chat box, or I can hover over Tyler's name since his door's locked, and I can chat with him. And up comes a very, very wonderful Slack-like chat, only better. And in our chat, I can literally send audio chat, I can send video chat, and I can send, and I love the video chat. So imagine training with English as a second language. I pull up a video chat and I say, hey, Tyler, you know, I want you to come and I want you to collaborate with us in Adam's office. So literally a touch of a button, and I'm sending audio chat, I'm sending video chat, I am encrypting, by the way, no Zoom bombers here, inside my video channels, peer-to-peer, and inside my chat channel with the touch of a button. So I just love the fact that we've got this interoperative chat. A lot of people love Slack. I love Slack too. We've also built into our chat a Slack bridge. So I can mirror in our help desk or any other channel in Slack, a bridge. Here goes my video. Hey, Tyler, I'm on with Adam. Thank you so much for introducing us. And there we go. I click OK. And now I've just sent my friend Tyler an entire video chat that he can listen to asynchronously at his leisure. So there I am on audio chat. And then again, with my colleague Anton in the training room, I can now go have that very much needed water cooler conversation. It looks like she did go into the cafe. So with the touch of a button, I'm in the cafe. And then I've got super fun opportunities. Notice that every room that I've been in, Adam, it's branded Walkabout. So I'm creating that IBM image of brand and of brand creation. And if I want to see you in your office, there's my colleague Anton coming in on video. Hey, and now she's having her spontaneous cup of tea. And I've even got a social bot. He's my favorite. We call him Puppers. And Puppers can say happy anniversary, happy birthday, or even more importantly, I could go into my app console and send Anton, I'm not going to Anton, by the way, a $25 immediately redeemable Amazon gift card that I send into her chat channel, and she can spend it on the spot. So that's how it works. We are a place. We even did add that bar in. So now I can go in and have a little cocktail. And then Adam, I can also show where you go to work every day, which I love.
Yeah, I'm going to pop up my screen. So my office, not quite as big as yours, but we're going to get there. I'm going to fill this thing and we're going to get there. But we have our break room as well. So a little bit different vibe, a little more casual, just kind of a nice place to hang out. I like the whole bar thing, but we just like to hang out. So, one of the things I'm
back with you, Adam. So here you are in your break room, and I know that you're trying to do this podcast and this, but I'm now going to go to your break room, and cool. So now I'm in your cafe and I'm on full video. And if you click your video headset, you're now in your office, and we can be together. So I love that. We've got awful lot of video clicking on, but there I am, and if you click yours, there you are. And how flippin' cool is that? So
we get the super echo when we do that, though, sometimes.
Nope, I've done a lot of StreamYards in my world. Yep, it works good. So yeah, there's your floor plan.
So the other thing I really love is this is what guests, when you invite people into our co-working space, this is what they're greeted with. Feels like you're walking into a building, feels like you're going somewhere, and people that I've showed the platform to, just the resounding, they're like, I feel like I'm going somewhere. So, absolutely love that feel. And then we have conference rooms available as well, set up for larger group trainings. So, like Toni said, you can put 10 in your office. You can really put up to about 25 people into our conference rooms. So you could do master classes. You can do all kinds of different training classes in there as well. So really, really great, absolutely awesome platform. I love just the sense of feeling of going somewhere every day and being in a place. So let's start to wrap this thing up. Because we have talked about a ton of stuff today. Gosh, we have.
I love it. And I love that, you are creating a place where people can come together and do that co-creation and that innovation within your floor plan, and you're driving affinity. You're driving, there's Adam and I in his room, and we're driving affinity, we're driving connection to brand, and we're doing this all over the world. So I'm so thrilled that we're doing it together.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely awesome. I think what makes, my project a little, or my floor plan and what I'm doing with a little bit different than a lot of the people that work with Walkabout is I have catered a packaging that gears towards consultants and freelancers, solopreneurs, people that typically wouldn't see a whole lot of benefit to a platform like this, honestly. Because if I'm just a one-man show, I don't necessarily need that. I'm, for the most part, probably pretty used to that, that kind of solopreneur life. But if I have the opportunity to go somewhere and work with other consultants and freelancers and things like that, it's that community, just like they would get in a corporate setting, but geared towards their demographic. So it's a little bit, a little bit of a different use for it. In approach, and that's what I'm really excited about is bringing that sense of community to those people that don't tend to live in that space as much.
And I love that. I love your vision of that. I can just imagine walking down your floor plan and being in a lawyer's office, or being in another consulting office, or being in a CFO's office, or an accountant's office, or being in an IT office, and having all of that community built with an eye toward a collective, really a place to go to work. And that's what you're creating. You're creating this, and that's why people go to Regis and to go to places like WeWork. They want to be with colleagues where they can learn, grow, experience, and thrive.
Absolutely. I love that learn, grow, experience, and thrive. I think it's super. I might have to find ways to steal that.
Okay. It's all yours.
So we've talked about a ton of stuff, though. I want to get ready to kind of wrap up the show here. So I always like to wrap up with final thoughts. So thinking about everything that we've talked about today, what is one thing that people should take away from this episode?
Oh, you didn't tell me that I had to think of that. Let's see. One thing.
Well, I like to catch you on your toes.
So I really think if we didn't think of anything else, we've got to put the human back into technology, and place matters. We've got to give this sense of a place to go, so that people don't feel isolated, don't neuroscientifically feel like they are bound by, as you started out to say, calendars and tools, but that we really have a place to go to work. And I think that there will be an emergence of those small businesses and those large enterprises that truly care about culture, and that truly care about people and productivity and happiness, and thriving in a world where you can have a diverse workforce that is distributed, but still creates a community that creates outcomes and output. So place matters.
Absolutely love it. I couldn't agree more. And so absolutely love what you're doing and what Walkabout is doing. It's an amazing, amazing platform. Where can people find you?
Let's see, what is, now I never do this because I never go there. So www.Walkabout Workplace, I just heard, just got launched.com, or walkaboutco.com. They can find us on LinkedIn. Toni at walkaboutoffice.com. I'd love to hear from you. And by the way, you can get to us through Adam.
Yes. Connect with me. You can find out more about my co-working space at coworkhubvirtual.com. There's a little form on there if you want to go ahead and schedule a tour. Love to take you through the office and show you what it's all about. Toni, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so much fun. I nerd out on this stuff, I think, just as much as you do. So, but I really do appreciate your time today. In your knowledge about everything that we're experiencing, and more importantly, I think what Walkabout has come up with a solution for that. So, really, really excited to see where the next chapter goes with this and how we move forward out of this. Thank you so much, audience. Thank you. Really, really appreciate everybody that took the time to hang out with us this afternoon and learn about what's going on in virtual working. Again, if you have questions, reach out to me. You can get to me through thewinningtactics.com or Cowork Hub Virtual. Find me on LinkedIn. Find me everywhere. You Google my name, you'll find all kinds of stuff. But appreciate everybody's time. We will be live sometime next week. I don't know when yet, but we'll be live sometime next week. But as always, episodes launch on YouTube and all the major podcast platforms every Thursday by 1 p.m. So look forward to it, and thank you so much.
Well, that wraps up yet another episode of the Winning Tactics Podcast. You can find Adam on both the LinkedIn and Facebook platforms. And to support the show and ensure the success of the podcast, would you kindly consider visiting Patreon.com/Adam Sinkus? We greatly appreciate it. And until next time, from the Winning Tactics Podcast, remember, culture is how your team behaves when no one is looking. Take good care, and thanks for listening.